The end time. We went from where it all started back to Warcraft 3 in Hyjal, and now to a supposed end time where Deathwing destroyed most of Azeroth and then was driven insane by the old gods.
Madness will consume you!
And ended his own life atop the Wyrmrest temple. Subscribe to Game UnCrafter to see future glitch videos. Also, you can share, like, and comment to show support on this video. It's greatly appreciated. The Caverns of Time glitch series has covered most of the history of Azeroth, and now we will cover a potential future. This is the semi-finale of the series, part 8. There will be a bonus video, but we'll get to that later on in the video. Join me in one of my favorite areas I've ever explored in World of Warcraft. This glitch covers a lot of area in Northrend, just like the Hour of Twilight videos that you can watch in my Caverns of Time glitch series playlist. Just like in those two videos, I don't have much time to waste in this video. Well, that's freaking good, because to start this glitch all you need to do is jump over this rock at the very beginning of the instance and you're out of bounds. Time to explore by jumping straight down into the Dragonborn way. Now, I did say Dragonborn there, I meant Dragonbone, but you know, same thing. When down here, you can explore all of the wreckage of what appears to have been a massive battle between Deathwing and the Horde races of Azeroth. Looks like we lost this one. One thing kind of unique about End Time is that there is no music, and so walking into the command center of the Horde airship is the first time that you'll be able to hear any music in the instance. Definitely a pretty cool wreckage that we can explore. Over to the south, there's also a Dun Zeppelin. After seeing all of that wreckage, I could not help but get closer to Deathwing's corpse and admire the team's sheer talent in setting the scene for the lore. When you're close in the base of the Wyrmrest temple, if you jump into the lava, you will receive minor burn damage with a stacking debuff, but at level 60, it really didn't seem to affect me that much. At this lava crater, if we look up, we can witness one of the most amazing views in World of Warcraft exploration history. The broken body of Deathwing spilling his magma insides into the Wyrmrest temple and melting away the foundation. I am blown away by the scene. Oh yeah, the inside is perfectly unharmed. I jumped down to check the basement of the temple and it looked like just a cliff. However, getting closer to the cliff reveals that the basement is fully textured, but it is not explorable. After that, I headed towards Venomspite, and lo and behold, it's here just as it is in the Hour of Twilight and in retail. I don't really spend too much time here as it's exactly the same as the live version, and minus the inhabitants of course, but you know, that's a minor detail, not really that important.
Gee, thanks.
Heading past Venomspite on the southern pathway takes us to the edge of the map, and from here we can also see the Forgotten Shore. Here's something interesting though, all these ships seem to be updated and textured differently, I mean, at least that's what I thought. I looked through all of these ships, and while updated there were still no sunken treasure.
Damn the luck.
Traveling along the shore, New Avalon is clearly visible at the top of the ledge, and when we hit this dock, the ship near the shore strangely sunk. This actually surprised me because in both retail and in the Hour of Twilight, the ship can be fully explored. Now my dreams of sailing into the Forgotten Shores and an out-of-bounds area are destroyed. How terribly sad. When heading up to New Avalon, there's a stark change in the sky. It becomes black, deep, and starry. And this is because of the scenery whenever you're attacking Tyrande, Whisperwind, and the Emerald Dragon Tribe. It's pretty interesting. Now, I'll let you guys explore this area. Feel free to use the timestamps to jump ahead on any of the montages, though an interesting note when exploring New Avalon, the basement of the barracks can be explored. Now, I do realize it's pretty much the same as the retail version, but that doesn't make it any less creepy. It's still pretty creepy. Before I move on to any specific areas, I wanted to show off a view unique to the Emerald Dragon Shrine area. With the incredible sky overhead when you are near the shrine, if you look towards the temple, you can view one of the best skylines in Azeroth's future. I was thrilled when I saw this. When moving on, I kinda just take in my surroundings. I did find a bunch of bones in this area and I feel like they were not here in the live version. I could be wrong on this. I know that the developers really did take a bit of time to make this out of bounds area pretty unique, despite the instance being relegated to encompassing only the dragon shrines. This outer area is pretty detailed, they got dead trees and all kinds of stuff. Continuing on, I see that Moa'ki Harbor is still here. There's a friendly green creature missing from the harbor, but this little orca will do, I guess. He's pretty cute. I walk through the rest of the town and both the wyvern and the griffin are still at their post. Let's relax for a minute and take in the music that still plays in these buildings. It's been a long journey, and we still have a long way to go. Moving past the harbor and into the forest, you can see that all the trees are dead and they look burnt to a crisp. Of course, the hovels themselves do not look very different, but in contrast, the Indu'le Village is completely different. Normally the village has a lake in the center of it, but in the end time there isn't a lake at all. Also no floating bodies. I'm a bit disappointed here, Blizzard. The dead fish did get to stay though, so that's good at least. While exploring the village, I went to the coast to see the briny pinnacle, and as I checked this area out in the hour of twilight, though I really doubt that there would be anything interesting here. So I finished exploring the village and then continued west. Heading west revealed that the Lothalar Woodlands is also in the instance, and it looks strange with the color palette of end time. I decided to jump towards the Glistening Strand afterwards. The Surge Needle, of course, is just past it, and it looks incredible as usual. Just past the Night Elf Ruins is the Western Barrier. Seeing all these areas was well worth the traveling all the way out here. There was a lot to take in. At this point I went to the north and I looked over the edge and there's a great view of the forest from underneath. There's trees, so that's great. The next step on our journey is Icemist Village. With the current texture palette, the area looks just bizarre. I had to explore the lower area because it's a place I vividly remember exploring when I was a teen looking for secrets. There's nothing to see here but amazing waterfall effects with water flowing into air, I don't know. Next, let's look for Azjol-Nerub. It's here, the entire cave section. I was quite surprised by this because most cave systems are unexplorable when in an out of bounds area. Like in the battle for Mount Hyjal, where there was a cave that just had a wall in front of it. I looked all around the area to see what's all here, and everything that would be in retail is available to explore, including an interactable meeting stone. You can even explore the entire entrance of An-Kahet, the Old Kingdom. Sadly, there is an invisible barrier that would lead into Azjol-Nerub. I didn't really get past it, but I had a feeling that I wouldn't have been a good idea to anyway. So after leaving that amazing area, I started for Agmar's Hammer, and it looks the same as it does in retail. You can pretty much explore all of the houses, and there are a few music changes, just like at New Avalon, though there's really no major damage or changes to the city itself. As I moved towards the east, I discovered a massive dragon skull. Was this here in the normal zone? I'm not really sure. Next, it's time for the Wrathgate. The whole area is included here, and I will say it looks very strange with the colors of end time. The purple just looks off to me. Sadly, when I walked up to the gate, I tried to use Door of Shadows at the base, but it doesn't seem like you can get beyond the barrier here. I mean, you can't in retail, you can't in any other version of this instance, so it was worth a shot. As I was walking up this path, I saw the horde base to the right, but got a little distracted by what appears to be Dalaran. Yeah, it's Dalaran along with the Crystalsong Forest area included. How amazing. Immediately I jumped down to explore Crystalsong Forest. There's the arcane shield that can be seen in retail World of Warcraft, and this hut here contains a very suggestive male mage. Guess it's fine for men to look at like this in paintings, just not women according to Blizzard. Just kidding, of course. I still think it's funny that they turned women into fruit though. It's kind of weird. Here is Crystalsong Forest in all its glory. What a serene and beautiful area, especially without the music. Just a storm sounding off in the distance. Once I was done with Crystalsong Forest, I decided to start a fresh exploration and travel all the way to Wintergarde Keep. It's all here, tavern music included. It's amazing how empty and alive this whole out-of-bounds area feels. I mean, there's no music except for whenever I'm inside a building. It's almost like there are spirits attached to the buildings, leaving their memoirs for me to experience. Beyond the city you can see Scourge wagons coming up the city wall, and that pretty much ends the eastern side of the map. There is no Naxxramas, there's no Carrion Fields, and there's no Mausoleum either. Apparently they did not want us to explore the caverns in this instance. Other than that, there is a human statue and a mine for me to explore. The music changes, but there is sadly no gold to be found. heading up this path, you'll discover a little area with a boat with mounted guns, an outhouse, and a small hut. I don't ever remember seeing this in retail, but it is apparently there in retail. I checked. Jumping from the mountain, there is a small Scarlet Onslaught shrine, and since we are so close to the boundary, we can see what the entire structure looks like. The Scarlet Onslaught base is all here, but a major difference between that version and this one is that Frostmourne Cave isn't even included in the place. This tower over here still changes your location mapping from the end time to Dragonblight, which is strange and weird as usual. Finally, I left all of those amazing areas and headed to the edge of the Path of the Titans. It's time to focus on something quite important that we saw earlier. Dalaran. Can we reach it? The only way I could ever see us reaching the city is to climb to the very top of the tallest mountain. Time for some real parkour and mountain climbing. I'll say that this is some of the hardest parkouring and climbing that I've had to do in a while. I stuck to the left of the mountains most of the time, but there is a slightly easier way to the right of the mountains. It doesn't really matter though, as the path will continue going up the mountain either way, just one's harder than the other. When I finally arrived near the top, I looked to the left and we can see Wintergrasp in the distance. Amazing. But before we head there, we need to do something else that takes priority. Can we jump to Dalaran? Let's try. Yes, after a long journey, you can actually get to Dalaran, and the chat channel changes to Dalaran. You can explore the entire base of the area, well, half of it. Just be careful because the minimap does not show you where the edges are in the out of bounds area, and it's easy to become stuck at the edge of the map. I'll let you in on a little secret. You actually can explore the city, and that exploration will be a separate video than this one. That's the bonus I was talking about earlier. I think an entire major sanctuary deserves its own video. It's freaking Dalaran. As soon as that video is out, the description in the end panel will link the video and a card will appear at the top of the screen. Before I wrap up the end time exploration by jumping off the Dalaran floating city, I jumped down to the floating rocks and I discovered the floating rocks of Dalaran, so it does count as an exploration here. The end to the end time exploration. I jumped to the left instead of the right of the mountain and floated all the way down to Wintergrasp. It's a bit of a glide, and it looks like when I landed here I found what looks to be part of a PvP base. Continuing on, the area is very desolate and there's destroyed war machinery all around and a small little alliance base here with some griffins. The water is not included in the lake, but the icebergs are. This is actually weird because the Indu'le Village did not include any of the icebergs that are normally in the lake. So I wonder why they weren't included there but are included here. Weird inconsistency there. The little goblin rockets scattered throughout the world added a little bit of life to the exploration. Bit out of place though. And here's a clip of the rest of Wintergrasp. I'm just gonna let you guys chill and relax while you watch it and listen to some cool music. Well, that's the end of end time. Let's make one final dive into the vast lands of the Out of Bounds instance. Thank you all again for watching.